future or moving forward? What is security today? We have with us a distinguished panel from scientists to Russian specialists. To start off, Dr. Marina Ferro would talk to us about the environment as a security issue. Doctor?
Thank you, Doctor. I think security goes beyond the states now. For example, take global warming. This threat is not a state yet. It affects the security of every single person in the world. For instance, the increase of just 2 degrees Celsius, sea levels would rise and cause floods in island countries in the Pacific, in the US, some areas in China, and the southeast of Asia. There would be droughts in some areas. The seas would get warming, affecting all maritime ecosystems. This will change life as we know it. It will also cause conflicts over resources and forced migrations. The agreements of Paris were just the first step that needs to be done. We've reached the point where states no longer can cover what is necessary to save the planet. Every single person needs to contribute. After all, climate change doesn't discriminate on religion, race, gender, or even age.
Well, I think it would be naive to argue that security issues are the same. Of course, new issues have appeared. Nevertheless, I also think that the way the world answers and how the system works hasn't changed that much. The decision is still in the state's hands, even inside international organisms. We are now in a crisis of the world order with the declining of the great power, which is the US, and China as emerging one. We've come back to the world worrying about a trade war between two states, even though we aren't in them. And the US, or let's say Trump, thinking that they can make good threats about beginning a war like this. It isn't just about the military issues now, but also trade wars, tariffs, closing frontiers, cutting off help for developing programs, etc. The functioning of the most important international organisms depends on these great powers, even though we know that it shouldn't be like that. Yes, we have new international security issues, but at the same time, the way we could solve them, which is by international institutions, collective action, and international cooperation, isn't working, and it's due to the great powers' indifference.
Honestly, who cares about the military threats from other states? Who cares if China has bigger guns? The real threat right now is in cybersecurity. It's a threat to a country's institutions, the day-to-day life, the mental sanity of the population, to our personal security even. Worst case scenario, a foreign power hacks and takes over the power grid of your city, turns off the lights in the middle of the night, a riot starts, and you die in a hospital with no power. Then again, it would be easier to kill you by hacking your peacemaker and giving you a heart attack. This is not hypothetical. Russia has done cyber warfare in Europe since 2007. They have attacked government websites, media outlets, and the banking of places like Estonia, Georgia, and Ukraine. Not to mention stealing files from Germany's political parties and stealing and leaking the emails from Hillary Clinton. All of this is done with plausible deniability. Was it really the Russian military? Or was it a Swedish teenager called Sven? Or was it me? How do you know I wasn't involved in the 2007 cyber attack against Estonia, other than the fact that I was 11 years old? Cyber attacks can threaten the heart of Western democracies. The interference with elections is not a myth, it's a fact. It doesn't even have to be direct interventions against the voting machines like it was done in Ukraine. Russia is perfectly capable of interfering in the US elections with their bot farms. Trolling and disinformation are now a matter of national security. A not insignificant number of Americans believe there is a secret global organization made up of pedophile celebrities and politicians that eat children, and Trump is the last hope against them. And let's not forget about the theft of personal information. Only Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg should have access to my search history. You know, the machines. The scary thing is that all of this doesn't even have to be done by big, scary countries like Russia. All this crap could have been very well done by an anarchist Danish collective operating in their mother's basement.
Well, to start off, I would like to clarify that everything the previous person talking said is false because Russia is innocent. And well, I'll proceed to read my own dissertation, with which I think that admitting that international security is no longer the sole competence of states implies them being surpassed by forces that are alien to them. This opens the door, one way or another, to non-state actors such as counter-terrorist organizations, government thugs, or shock groups to assume the role of the state and thus try to argue that they use force legitimately. This, of course, and in the light of the things that have been happening for the past years, is not a desirable scenario. This is what brought us to this discussion in the first place, and I don't think we want other groups rather than states to be actually intervening with the use of force in international affairs and security.
But now more than ever, we have to think about health. Research has demonstrated that changes in health issue status have direct and indirect impacts on security, and that epidemics may lead to destabilization, political unrest, civil disorder, or long-term deterioration of the economic viability of a country or a region. Such health issues like COVID receive attention from senior policymakers only when they are possible threats to international, regional, national, and individual security, or potentially a threat to economic welfare. It is fundamental to identify health issues as a security issue, because this may bring more funding for research, political prominence, and attention from senior policymakers, as well as cooperation between states. Anyway, thank you for coming to this webinar. It has been super interesting. Thank you to all the participants. You are amazing. And have a nice day.